Most of y'all may know me from Opinionated, the podcast. But like I always told my brother from another mother, Ree, I'll never do a podcast episode without him. So right now, I present to you Opinionated presents Hanging with Hicks. Today's guest is a longtime friend of mine. He's a trendsetter. He's the mayor of Homestead himself, or that's what I like to call him at least. Pharilien Paul.
I think it's time that I welcome y'all to my show. I think it's time I welcome y'all. Come watch my victories, yo.
Paul, man, I'm happy to have you on this show. You're actually the first person to be on Hanging with Hicks, so man, it's a pleasure to have you, man.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. Hey, I feel a little bit special, first.
Oh, nah, man. Look, it's a normal conversation. We're just letting the people know who you are as a person. So, Paul, I've known you for years, obviously, but I want everybody to kind of know, where did this young trendsetter like yourself, what was your upbringing like?
Hey, trendsetter, I like that. So pretty much I am from Homestead, Florida. Growing up near Homestead Middle. Early childhood was like me, my mom's, my dad. About 7, 8, when I was 7 or 8 years old, my father passed away. So it was just me and my mom. We went through, what you expect someone to go through when you go from 3 different incomes to 2. I went to actually 2 different incomes to 1. I was too young to work, so obviously not my income. But after he passed away, we went through the struggles, got back on her feet, which around like early elementary, I started going to a program called Hicks also. And then later on open house too. So I went to those after school programs, which taught me about Christ, taught me about a lot actually, about life, what to react to, what not to react to, how to control my emotions versus not. A lot of different things, which put me in the position where I succeeded actually. So a lot of my values come from growing up with Hicks and open house.
And you mentioned that, your dad passed early on, and my condolences because I didn't even know that. How did that affect you at such an early age? Because I understand that, when you're coming 7, 8 years old, you're kind of just understanding what the world is. When you're a little bit younger than 7, 8 years old, you're just a kid. You're just out there playing. You honestly don't really remember too much. But around 7 and 8 years old, those are like where you begin those memories of actually, childhood.
It was really tough, really tough. The Paul that you know today is definitely not the Paul back then. If I could go to him, I would just give him a hug, to be honest, because back then, as most Haitians know, you growing up, my parents were very Haitian. So church.
Explain that.
What that means, we got this thing called 3 L's. It's called l'église, lakai, l'école, which means church, school, and home, lakai means home. So those are the only 3 places you'd ever catch me. You know what I'm saying? So growing up, it was just very humble beginnings, where it's like, I come home as dad, or, I go to school. And I'm expected to do good at school, quiet, no trouble. But when he passed away, believe it or not, I didn't cry until we left the funeral. And we put his body in the casket and went underground.
Did you feel like you had to hold that in and kind of be strong, like as the man of the house?
I did. At the time, I didn't know how to process his emotions yet. So I was very quiet at first. But going back to school, I turned into a different person. I went from like getting decent grades, good grades, never getting in trouble, to being suspended so frequently that the principals knew my mom at this point. Like, it got to a point where I would get in trouble and they would just call my mom and she would beg them not to suspend me and just have me at the school, because she would be at work all day too. So
was it just that built up anger that because you couldn't process, you didn't understand at such a young age that like your father's now gone, you didn't know who to talk to?
Yeah. A lot of people, don't know about me. Even my close friends don't know this. When my father died, the night my father died, he was to my right. He was laying on a hospital bed, and I was laying on the floor next to him because I couldn't fit on a hospital bed. And then I just woke up around 2 a.m. And my mom was crying, my brother was crying. I got up and I actually got to touch the body. I touched his body and I touched his chest, and that's how I knew he was not there no more. So a lot of that trauma I was never ever able to work out. Even that, like, affecting me as an adult sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Like, not a lot, like I said, like not a lot of people know this. So But yeah, after that it was just really tough. You know what I'm saying? Growing up with now just my mom only, she was doing what she had to do. But again, my mom worked in the Keys. And they would leave to go to work around like 5 a.m. and then get off at 5. The only reason they got off at 5 a.m. because the person that they got a ride from would pick everybody up around 5. So by the time you got to work, it's time for you to work anyway. So she was gone 12 hours of the day. And at first she got me a babysitter. But after I started going to Hicks and hanging around with like different friends, I just left the babysitter. I stopped going there. Even when she would take me there, I'd leave myself and just be hanging out in the streets.
And I mean, being raised by a woman, you know, by herself essentially, you know, what respect did you gain towards your mother? Because obviously, like you just said, your mom be gone from 5 a.m. to 5 in the afternoon. You know, she had to provide for her family by herself essentially. So it's like, how did like that respect towards her go?
I'm gonna tell you even today, because of my mother, I respect women on a whole nother level. You know what I'm saying? Like, I seen her like push through where she was crying over my father, but she had to be strong because of me. Where we lost the home and we didn't have nowhere to stay, but she still made it work, whatever the case is. You know what I'm saying? So, and even then, when I got when I got to high school and I was able to like even work little summer jobs and do little things, and I was helping, I would be able to like do as much as I can. Like I remember walking from Walmart with groceries on our hands because that's when they started adding the little yellow things on the carts.
Yeah.
And the carts would lock up.
Yep.
So we couldn't. So we like literally it's 11 p.m. at night, and it's me and my mom carrying bags to like you know how you get the little ribbons on your hands, cause yeah. So I seen her go. We went through some really tough times, emotionally, physically, but because I seen her like always persist, it was never a day where I didn't see her wake up and go to work and do what she needed to do, whatever she needed to do.
And I want to go back a little bit towards the early years of education. You were mentioning that, you know, you went from a kid that was getting good grades and had great behavior to your dad passes away, and now you're struggling to unpack this. But was there ever a time that like the teachers or counselors or anybody really understand what you were going through?
Honestly, and I love the elementary school I went through, but honestly, no. No. You know what I'm saying? Actually, it got to a point, the only person I would say in that elementary school that really helped me, and rest in peace, he recently passed away, was Mr. Sewer. And that was West Homestead Elementary. I'm not talking bad about West Homestead. Like, they're an awesome school, but at the time, they didn't have what I need to help me emotionally or physically, whatever I needed. And I kept on getting in trouble, and it was just to the point where, you know what I'm saying, a lot of the guys were, like I said, the staff was very nice, but in terms of talking to someone and having me going through like a therapeutic time, no. It was just, I'd get in trouble, I'd see the principal so much that they just got to know me at that point.
And I mean, have you ever been to therapy?
No, I haven't. Actually, I went through one session, and I never went back. I don't know why, but I do want to start a habit of going to one. I've been looking. It's just right now I'm doing the real estate thing, and I'm just trying to focus on
the real estate,
building things at a time.
So, Paul, tell me a little bit about this transition. Now you're going from a young adolescent to now you're going into your teenage years of high school. Now you're able to work. You're able to help out the house. How was that transition for you?
Middle school was how I say it. All right, so elementary, and what I wanted to mention last thing about West Homestead was that when I left when I was in 5th grade, I had a teacher there who looked me dead in my eye. She like 5th grade is when you're going to high school, middle school next. So my teacher wanted me to she wanted to help me back so bad, but she couldn't because I was getting decent grades. I wasn't stupid, I was just bad. You know what I'm saying? So she wanted to, she told me, I want to put you in ESOL in 5th grade, which is like only for like different language speakers. I spoke English perfectly fine. She just didn't want me in her class. She told me that you would fail by the time you reach high school. So I looked her in the eye and I was like, challenge accepted, you know what I'm saying? And till I graduated high school, I'd never failed a grade or whatever the case is. And that was only because of what she said. But skip that, I go forward and I'm like, in middle school, it was more following. That's when it got to a point where my mom was like stable now, where she wasn't struggling and she's caught up after all the years of my father's situation. And mind you, I want to say my mom did not have any documents holding her to the U.S. at this time. So this whole time we've been fearing that she could get deported. So she, like I said, I seen that lady. So I respect women on another level. Middle school, growing up, it was just like I said. It was like any other average middle school kid. I got into trouble, not as much trouble as elementary, but the trouble, that's only because I got better at getting into trouble. I wouldn't get caught this time around. So
Now you're becoming a professional at it.
yeah, you know what? Homestead Middle wasn't bad. It was a lot of influences, but it wasn't bad. I don't really remember a lot much at Homestead Middle in terms of like education, maybe one or two teachers here and there. But Homestead Middle was, how would I say, an experience of like how life can be like if you go. I had a choice to make in middle school. It was either I go to the gang street life or
Education route.
Education. And at the time, I didn't make the choice at the time. I let Hicks make the choice.
You stayed in the middle.
I said Hicks. Yeah, I was always like, dang, I like having fun and doing this dumb stuff, but I also want to be something in the future. So that was definitely one of the things.
And what was the turning point in your life where you finally had to make a decision? Because no matter what, even myself, we all come to a point in our lives where you can go this way or that way. And my situation was like, mom and dad could be at the house all day long with you, and they could tell you right from wrong. But at the end of the day, it's still your decision on what you want to do. So what was that like experience for you where you had to finally sit down and say, you know what, I want to go the education route?
One, it was, like I said, God, because he's always been putting me in situations that just test me. And in the test, I always got the answers before I took the test. He always said something to me, and then I always got into a situation where whatever was said previously was being used now. So that first. Secondly, it was mainly, again, like seeing my mom work so much. And my friends at the time in middle school, that's when they started picking up habits like smoking, dropping out of school, stopping school, robbing people, doing different things. That's when crimes became crimes and not like trouble in school.
Not childhood jokes.
Yeah, they started getting arrested and things like that, and I wasn't really down for that because I knew how it would affect my mom.
Yes.
So it was not I stopped hanging out with them, but we just slowed down on things that we did together because of some of the stuff they were doing with serious crimes.
So, I mean, tell me a little bit. I mean, you're first generation Haitian. Tell us a little bit about those experiences growing up, because obviously I'm American black. We go through things as black people in general within not only our country but the whole world. But tell me how it is now as a Haitian man.
All right, so growing up, now being Haitian is pretty cool. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But growing up, it wasn't that cool. So all that time.
And not to cut you off, look here. He is not telling any false stories. Growing up, and we're the same age, growing up, Haitians used to go through a lot of things where there used to be almost a Haitian day where all throughout Dade County, at least, Haitians would get beat up on. Or, you know, people would be like, Haitians eat cats or whatever the case is. And now, tell us a little bit about that turning point.
All right, so basically growing up, like I said, I was really sheltered when my dad was there. And when he passed, the bullying like really started focusing. Again, like I said, that was a point in time where I was just so upset and angry at the world. And around that time, I started literally I started learning to fight because I was getting bullied so much. So I had to like take a stand. It was like, yo, I'm not gonna be the one to get weak. I'm not gonna be the one that get bullied. So yeah, growing up Haitian was tough. About middle school, that's when, you know, the song came out was Amaze.
Set on my chest, yes,
look, after that, around that point, it was like I didn't have to do much and people just gravitated because I was just Haitian. And that was just one. So that was like really, really, really
And then by the time you got to South Dade, it seemed like
a
good percentage of South Dade was Haitians. And everybody at South Dade on Haitian Flag Day, it didn't matter if you was white, black, yellow, green, you had on the Haitian flag.
Man, for real, it didn't matter. And then at first it was like, it became like a gang thing because it was like, you know what I'm saying? We needed to protect each other, but then it came differently. Like now it was like, yeah, we were still that cool kid. Yeah,
it went from a gang to a movement.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and it was like a lot of people that was with me in elementary that I didn't even know was Haitian until we got to like high school, because now it's like
People
cool
used
be
to
Haitian.
hide their
They're
identity
Haitian,
of being
man.
Haitian. Like
And if you was light skinned, you good, because everybody know you're not Haitian. But for me, like, I don't.
and
there's a
then
term
don't
that people
forget
say you
don't
look
forget your
Haitian.
last name gonna tell on you too.
Yeah.
Because
yeah,
if your
yeah.
last name Gene,
My first name told on me.
Paul, yeah, your first name.
You know, so
Okay, Paul. So I mean, we're transitioning now. You graduate from high school. Now you're a grown man. You're out there in the real world. Tell us about those experiences and what you had to go through.
So, all right. So the skills that I needed to survive in the real world was through open house and kicks, because although it was a kid program, they hired me to work to
And
monitor.
explain a little bit about that program.
Okay, so when I first went there, I was right after my father passed. Like literally, it was like clockwork. Like maybe 2 or 3 months. I started going there. At first, it was like, it's about games, about free food, whatever the case is. But in those games and the free food, there was always mentioning Christ. The drop, hint. Here's this. And growing up, it's just like everything you do, you start to build. It's like a how you call it, when you braid something, they'll throw Christ in and then continuously do that. And by the time I knew, I was
They'll sew it
top.
into you.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So Kicks is like a program that is for after school. It's like after school care program, but its main idea is to teach Christ. An open house too. That's originally what they were meant. Like going there first, it was I mentioned some people. Stacy, her husband, Stacy and Omar. They definitely played a huge role. I usually call them mom and dad, pretty much like my mom and dad. And that's what it is. I don't know much to say about it.
No,
like,
I mean,
Kicks it's like after school care that you dream of. Like they
I mean,
made me
because
see the outside world.
obviously it made a huge impact in your life. From a young age to now, you're an adult and you're still going back to that program, giving it back.
Well, I haven't. You know what? I've been meaning to go back and volunteer there, but I haven't done it.
Well, now look, you will put on the spot that now you gotta go back to it now.
Yeah, definitely.
So now we get into your real estate. What made you want to even get into real estate?
You know what? The answer is simple. Kicks an open house now. I'm just like, but no, seriously. There was a person that worked at open house. His name was Big T. He was a real estate agent, and actually, he taught me how to do like interviews with school. Taught me what to wear, what collar shirts, how should I wear it, things like that. He actually held and he didn't need to. This was not funded by the program. He on his own time came to the program and said, "Hey, look. I'm going to set it up where we're doing like a little workshop, and you guys are going to learn skills to survive in the business world, in the real world." And he sat down with us, and I had an interview. He gave me my references, and he was like, "All right, this is what you did wrong. This is what you did right." And he was a realtor. And he was like, at the time, he was talking about how he had closed a deal, and he paid off his wife's home and donated like a lump sum of money to the church, and how he just felt just in awe that he was able to provide for everyone. And I was like, dang, that's what realtors do. They're not only on the forefront of helping people find a house, they also like provide also.
So what are like some of the misconceptions of being a realtor? Because like me, honestly, I'm 26, right? But it seems like a great number of people I know, when something's not working out with them, they're like, I'm gonna go into real estate. And they think it's easy to be a realtor, and then when they get into the game and they figure out that, it's hard to actually sell a house, they're like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. So just give us some of the misconceptions that people think of like getting into the real estate game.
All right, so it is not easy, right? Nothing you do or you want to do that's gonna bring you success or money or whatever you want is gonna be easy. All right, so getting a license, some people may find it easy depending on how good you can study or whatever the case is. Obviously, knowledge is knowledge. If you learn it, you're gonna learn it. You know what I'm saying? And you take the test. After taking the test, it's literally everything you've built your whole life on is pretty much book study in school, whatever the case is. Now it's personal relationships. All right? So if you had a crappy mood, or if you a person that curse and just whatever, be nasty to people. Unprofessional, there you go. Then definitely. Yes. Now it's relationships. Now it's talking to you like you're human. And it's not just talking to someone because you want them to buy a house with you. It's just genuinely meeting someone like, hey, what's up? What you doing Saturday? You hungry? What's up? You take out to lunch. Or, hey, let's chill. What are you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You invited me to your birthday thing. You know what I'm saying? Even if I'm doing this, like even if you wanted to pay me, I'd be like, nah. You know what I'm saying? just chill. We're just here.
Yep.
I'm here to help you.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm genuinely help you. It's not like I'm trying
There's
to
no
put you in a
strings
different-
attached to it.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And that's the same thing with real estate. When I'm helping you buy a home, it's not a sell for me. I'm helping you build financial gains. That home is gonna appreciate in a couple of years. You know what I'm saying? I'm helping you put somewhere. We put you somewhere. Your family's gonna thrive and grow, and you know what I'm saying. That's gonna be your home. That's gonna be your baby.
Exactly.
So I'm helping you find that. I want you to find what you want. You know what I'm saying? So it's all about helping at the end of the day. And if you're not a good helper, if you're not a good person that's patient, because you're gonna get clients. I mean, there's different ends of the spectrum. You know, you got people that just come and they're ready, they have everything. And you have people that's not, and you gotta meet them where they're at. And if you're not ready to meet people where they're at, not where you're at, where they're at, then I don't think this is for you.
And what advice would you give, a young adult in Miami who's trying to now, transition from graduating college, or they get their first time big job, and now they're trying to look for a townhouse or a home or even an apartment because rent is so expensive down here. So just, give us a couple pointers, man.
In my opinion, guys, I'm going to say my opinion, I think buy whatever you can buy as soon as you can buy it, all right? And the reason why I'm going to say this is I recently heard a story of this guy. He bought a home in 2006, 7 around there. And, that was before the market crisis happening. And he bought a condo. And then after buying a condo, the crash happened. So he bought the condo for $400,000, and the crash happened. And then everybody around him was selling for $200 after buying it. He had an option to make. He could have just sold his home, sold the condo for the $200 and short himself $200, or he could have just held on to it. And he held on to it. And today that home is worth $250,000 and $1.5 million. So what I'm saying is buy and wait. If you can afford it during a recession, don't sell. Stay. Why would you sell when everything's cheap? You sell when everything's high, which is what happened in Homestead in 2020.
Yeah.
Where everything was on an increase and everybody was making hundreds, thousands of dollars on their homes. You know what I'm saying? Even now, where we're in a part of Homestead where it's still growing. Things are going to get more expensive.
Yeah.
The interest rates increasing. Yeah, it's true. But you can always refinance. 2020 may happen again. Where it's ideal, your interest rate's low, everything's perfect. That may happen again within those 30 years of you buying your home.
Exactly.
And you can refinance. But if you don't buy now, when you can, that cost of the home is going to increase. And yeah, people sometimes short themselves and sell for $200 instead of holding on for that $400. But I'm gonna be honest with you. People, when they do that, is investors that buy those homes, and investors are paying cash. All right, investors are paying cash. You're gonna always get beat out in the offer with cash. If someone's offering $200,000 for a home and they're giving you cash, $200 versus someone who's gonna get a loan or whatever the case, and have to go through inspection and do all this, that can take 30 days, and then the deal can cancel within those 30 days. Anything can happen, and a deal can cancel. Versus someone who's buying cash, you'll have the inspection here tomorrow. They have somebody there to price the next day, and then 3 days from now, the house is sold, and you have your cash already. No, nothing.
Man,
obviously, you know what I'm saying?
You broke it down to me. I needed to hear that.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of things is the market is competitive. Even as a buyer, you feel like you're about to buy. Offering the amount they're asking for is just sometimes the minimum they're asking for. You're talking about the renting. I'm seeing it with renting also. So it's like people are putting a house on the market for $2,000, and that's a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? A month, especially in Homestead. And it's like, you know what? Someone else comes. You know what? I was paying $10,000, $5,000 a month in New York or wherever, and that's nothing to them. They'll throw up to $2,500. Now that renter is faced with an option where he has this person offering him $2,500 versus this person is offering him that $2,000 that he originally asked for. But you know what I'm saying? Obviously, he's gonna choose the more money.
And Paul, I mean, obviously, I've known you for years now, but you've always seemed, since I've known you, to be focused. Like, aside from your mother and what she went through and what she did for you all and sacrifice, what is your why?
All right, so my why originally is so I won't be in that place where I was, as a kid. I remember that place. And that place was like tough to get out of. I don't ever want to be there no more. You know what I'm saying? I remember literally, like I said, there's been times where when my mom like we lost a home and we were staying with someone. We went to that person's house and knocking on the door, and it's raining. We went to a Haitian church, and really late, like 10, 11 p.m. at night. And we got home, and we were knocking the whole night, and it was pouring outside. And we just stayed home, and I went to school the next day. I stayed out the whole night till sunrise in the rain, soaking wet, slept on my mom's lap. And I won't ever want to go to that place or have someone experience that's related to me. So that's why it's, you know what I'm saying, you just work. You push. My mom comes from a very country part of Haiti. So she grew up on farms, and you know what I'm saying? So she's just been a hard worker her whole life. She actually stopped going to school to farm and help her dad with a farm.
Man, that's powerful.
Yeah.
I mean, it's obvious that, you're a man of Christ. I mean, how did that save your life?
Okay. I always, like I said, my mom has always been going to church. She started just early childhood going to church, but then I didn't really take it serious with my personal relationship until I started going Hicks. Once a year they do this thing called Oasis, where during their spring break in school, we'll go up to somewhere mid-Florida for like a few days. And the whole time is just building yourself with Christ. Like, it's just, you're isolating your phone, you're isolating yourself from the real world, and you're just at camp, and everything is geared to like Christ, and you know what I'm saying? And I had, like I said, going to open house, just as I'm going to mention the second program, Wanda always had a thing of walking with seashells on the beach and things like that. So I also find inspiration from God and nature, where I just like, I can literally sit there and just stare, like literally, if I'm driving, I'm probably staring out at where the sunrise, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Over, looking at trees, looking at things like that. And I bring, actually, sometimes that inspires different outfits or things on me, so yeah.
And speaking of outfits, man, that's what I want to get to. I call you a trendsetter because that's what you are. Ever since I've known you, I would not have known your personal story by the way that you always came to school and how you were dressed. Where did that come from, man? Like, how were you able to mix and match it and me not even realizing, like, oh, he was struggling?
Man, look, all right, this is how bad the struggle was. I'm gonna put myself on the spot. So my first time ever getting a name brand shoe or clothes, whatever, was like summer of fifth grade year going into sixth, whatever the case is. I got me a pair of Reeboks. That was my first name brand clothes. Besides that, my mom would literally go to like Sedano's, and they usually have like the little shoes there. And man, I was in like fourth to fifth grade wearing shoes from Sedano's.
Okay.
And you can, like I said, in South Florida, you're gonna get rode on. People gonna ride you. They're gonna shine you to daybreak.
Yep.
So man, it was tough. But in sixth grade, I actually started getting name brand clothes. I still remember some of my older outfits, like wearing all white and blue, or whatever the case is. And that's when I got the put into the urban atmosphere. But then you always have like BET then, MTV Jam. So you always see like little
what they're wearing on TV.
Artists, you know what I'm saying? But then it wasn't until like ninth grade, I had a friend, Renison, and he was challenging me different ways artistically and dressing. And at the time, he was very influenced in European style and little trasher styles, and he was like just doing different styles. And it was interesting. I was like, dang, you know what? Let me try that. And then since then, I realized there's a world of fashion that I was just like, a lot of people down here live in a box, and I realized I was in the box. So now
everybody down here kind of dresses the same, and they have the same mentality, especially if you're black.
Especially, so after high school, I worked at a Lorca, and literally, I used to always dress up differently there. Yeah. Because it's a call center, you don't meet clients face to face.
They don't see you.
Yeah, so I dressed how I wanted there, and people would always be like, yo, you don't dress, you just weird, man. Like, da-da-da, because it's like, it's not the South Florida hood, you know what I'm saying, the hood style, so. Yeah.
But I mean, so you went from the Sedano shoes to now, like, if you could tell your younger self anything, like, what would you tell them about, like, the fashion?
Just be yourself, man, and embrace everything that you do. You can do anything, because sometimes I wear things that you know what I'm saying? I'm a little, maybe, I don't know, I doubt, you know what I'm saying? But I wear it, and I smile, I'm comfortable, and I'm, whatever the case is, and I end up getting a compliment. And it's like, damn, I was over here, like, trashing myself. The only person I doubted was me. somebody else was like, I feel like if somebody give you a compliment, maybe 2 other 3 people thought liked your fit, they just didn't comment on it.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So if somebody give you a compliment, just feel like maybe a couple other people felt that way.
The same thing.
So I always that was always driven me. You know what I'm saying? Like, dang. And then just self-confidence, man. I don't know where it came from, but self-confidence.
And I want to revert back to that 7 and 8-year-old kid who just lost his dad to the man you are today, because I just obviously said, you know, what would you tell your younger self about your swag? But what would you tell your younger self now, the man you are today?
Him. If I would tell him, I would say it gets better, man. You know what I'm saying? Things are like horrible now, but it gets better. You know what I'm saying? Like, just keep going. It gets better.
Paul, man, you and I have a great relationship, great friendship. You are the first guest on Hanging with Hicks. I don't think I would have had anybody else on here but you, man. You are the trendsetter. You are the organized guild man himself, the city mayor of Homestead. Y'all just don't know. Paul, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, definitely. Organized Guild is Donald's brand also.
Yep, go ahead.
The brand, you feel me?
Go ahead and rep the merch. Organized Guild. We're going to get Donald on here real soon.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He came up with that with Samurai as his like main thing. Anime too.
Yep.
So he's a huge anime watcher. I am too. So.
Paul, it's a pleasure. Thank you for coming on this show.
For sure, man. Thanks for having me, man.
Fans.
Awesome.
He goes by Paul. I'm the one and only Joshua Hicks. Keep it hanging.
Hey, where I grew up from, we was having fun. We ain't get no fuss, we stay under the sun. We would chill at the beach, then we go watch the heat.